What was Mr. Silva's understanding of what was in the vial with the blue liquid, and what was he using it for?
And before he answers, let me clarify what Mr. Scott said. It was a blue vial with clear liquid. And I don't.
My apologies. I've got it reversed. A blue vial with clear liquid.
Thank you.
What was in the supplement was a sexual enhancement supplement, and the reason I didn't go to the doctors is because this particular supplement they don't have here in the U.S. or in Brazil. My friend brought it from Thailand, and that's why I was taking that. It was because I couldn't go to a doctor to get this particular substance that was working.
And now, can you explain why it is that he was taking this supplement that was given to him from a friend that had traveled with it from Thailand?
He says the reason he was taking it is a personal reason, because it's a sexual stimulant, and that's why he was taking it, is because to help him in that area.
Did it ever cross your mind taking a clear substance in a blue vial from a friend that came from Thailand with a fighter of your stature and all that you have on the line and all that you've come back from might not be a good move?
No. That didn't go through my thought process. I actually, I'm human and I make mistakes, and it definitely was a mistake. If I would have known that this supplement that I was taking for something else would have had this sort of a problem, I would have never taken it in the beginning.
Is it his testimony, is it your testimony, that you absolutely had no knowledge of what was in there that we tested positive for in these results?
No, yeah, he had no idea that was in there. He had no recollection. He had no idea, pretty much, and he was taking it for the purpose of the sexual enhancement, and that's why even in the media, after all this came out, he never said anything, because he wasn't really sure what to say, because he didn't know how this would have came up positive in his test until the results came back from the testing, the further testing, that they found out that the drostanolone was in that substance. He said, I've never used any sort of anabolics or any sort of thing like that to fight. I've fought my whole career, and I've never used that. So this is actually a new topic for me also.
Mr. Silva recall the last time that he was enhanced tested in his career, or prior to his injury, was he always tested on fight night, pre-post? Had he ever been subjected to enhanced in competition or out of competition testing prior to his injury?
Acho que sim. Acho que foi.
Yes, he believes.
And what fight was that?
No, this is the only fight.
This is the only fight. So his entire career he's been tested on the night of the fight, pre-post, but never in advance, because with his injury,
yeah.
he was definitely prior to the enhanced testing era.
Prior to him breaking his leg, this is the first time he's ever been tested outside of the pre and post of his fight night.
I'm going to start this one. I think, given the testimony, and I may be out on an island on here, but given the testimony we heard today, it's quite evident there's some major inconsistencies in what I've heard and the testimony I've heard. And for that reason, I would actually proceed with going on the higher end for a penalty. The fine amount doesn't really make a difference to me, but what does make a difference to me is the amount of time that the suspension occurs, and for that I would recommend 7 days, along with our other common. I mean 12 months. Sorry, from the time of the fight. And I say that given the testimony we hear today. I think there's been very similar instances where we've had these types of situations, and when the fighter does come forward and is consistent in the testimony and takes some responsibility and shows some remorse, but I don't think that exists today.
We had a pre-fight medical questionnaire. That pre-fight medical questionnaire was quite specific. It says, have you taken any medication, drug, cream, inhalant, or injection, whether prescription, over-the-counter, from anyone or any place, in the last month? If yes, explain. The answer to that was given by Mr. Silva was none. And we have testimony from Mr. Silva's side, first and foremost, that he was taking at least 7 supplements that should have been disclosed to us during that period of time. So we have an intentional falsification then of the pre-fight medical questionnaire that's been admitted then by Mr. Silva.
I don't know any other way to say it, but I don't feel like we're getting the whole story. I'm not going to say it's a lie. I'm not going to say you're not telling the truth under oath, but I'm not getting the whole picture here. And the past, I've been pretty brutal about people I don't think are giving us the whole story. And I'm not taking anything away from Mr. Silva's career. I think he's done excellent things. He's by far one of the top fighters in the world. But this is the first time he's really been subject to enhanced testing. So it's hard to put a lot of credibility into his prior test results. Not his career, but his prior test results.
I'd be prepared to make a motion that we would impose a 12-month suspension upon Mr. Silva, that he be required to disgorge his win bonus, that he be required to disgorge 30% of his show purse, that he be required to present a clean test upon reapplication or his next fight here in the state of Nevada, that we change the outcome on the, change the result then on the fight that he had on January 31st, and that he be required to reimburse the Attorney General and the testing costs that were incurred then by the Nevada Athletic Commission. That would be my motion.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Lundvall. Is there a second?
Second that.
There's been a second by Commissioner Marnell. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Alonso. Thank you, Mr. Silva, for being here today. I appreciate you being here. Thank you, Mr. Eccles.